are recorded. Strap in and be prepared.
You just heard Baby J about 3 minutes give his entire A to Z on what was going on. I didn't interrupt you.
I don't even like I got to everything, honestly.
No, you didn't get to everything.
Interesting guests.
Kelly Graves, Mike Parker, Josh Pate, Melissa Lombardi, Yogi Roth, who said that Justin and I are smart.
Sharp opinions.
I think Dan Lanning sitting in his office going, you know what, fine, give us the toughest road to win the national championship. That's what it should be.
I think that this team is going to go as far as Malik Murphy takes them. There's a lot to like about this offense if he's who we think he could be.
And some smiles.
Is this thing on?
Is this thing working? No, that's why you got to do this. You got to go.
Hello?
Hello? Testing, testing,
it's like the little
testing.
girl in Nemo where she's tapping on the glass.
Fishy! Fishy, wake up, Fishy!
It's Danny Hamill.
We have to be more specific. We have a lot of pickle things going on,
know.
apparently.
Justin Grossweiner.
I've been wrong before, but that's what I think.
Danny and Justin starts now on Fox Sports Eugene and Newport.
Hello, neighbors, and welcome high atop the Delta Triad, the Crystal Palace. Live from the Bigfoot Beverages Studios in Eugene and Newport, this is the fastest 60 minutes in sports. This is the Danny and Justin radio program. Thanks, my friends, for lending us your ears for the next hour. You can follow us on Blue Sky and Twitter, Danny and Justin, and wherever you pod. Whatever podcast platform you subscribe to, we are there. Danny and Justin. Just type that. You got to type out the and, not put the little symbol for the and. You got to type out the and or the fastest 60 minutes, and you'll find us there on your platform. Like, subscribe. We might like you back. Yeah, we comb it. We try. Thanks for tuning in here on a weekend eve. Back in the studio once again. I'm Danny. Right over there is my tag team partner, Justin Grossweiner. We call him Baby J. What a boy!
Well, I'm just surprised, Danny, because you knew something that I didn't.
You want to start with that?
We don't have to.
No, we can. I mean, lots of good stuff going on. By the way, we're going to have the judge, John Warren, from KEJO and the Joe Beaver Show up in the Corvallis Albany market to talk about Oregon State and Texas Tech, and a big test for Trent Bray's squad on the road in Lubbock this weekend, trying to avoid an 0-3 start in the college football season. Eugene Emeralds get a win, the evening win against Everett last night, so that championship series now switches to Everett for the balance. It'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday to decide who wins the Northwest League Championship. So a nice bounce back by Eugene after an extra inning loss on Tuesday. So I will say we are going to take a little bit of credit for that, as the Godfather was in the studio on Wednesday. Yeah. We brought him good mojo.
And we got him to wear his...
He wore his hot dog outfit again, because we challenged them. I think at the end of that interview, didn't we say, so what are you when you wear the weenie? Because he has worn the weenie outfit every single Weenie Wednesday.
Exactly. And
came back as 8-3.
It was a Weenie Wednesday yesterday.
And it was a Weenie Wednesday.
So he had to wear it.
He had to. And now they're 9-3. And that's the way they close out the 2025.
That's pretty good.
That is pretty good. I would take that record, wouldn't you?
I definitely would. That's what is that, 750?
I don't know. You're doing math in your head right now?
9 of 12, right? Yeah, it's pretty fast.
That is very fast. Yeah. You're sharp, dude. And you literally
I failed out of school multiple times, basically.
Literally woke up 90 minutes ago. When I called you a little bit, were you just waking up?
So I was taking a nap. You caught me at the end of a nap.
You were up early. So you were up early this morning.
Yeah. Whenever I have communication that I need to do, I get up early to make sure I communicate things early in the day, and then I can take my little nap.
Yeah, I didn't get a nap today. I'm
sorry about that.
No, it's fine. So my wife...
What time do you get to bed tonight?
Well, I don't know. So I might be hopefully riding a high off of the Packer Commanders game tonight, which is Thursday night football. So hopefully it's either going to be a very early night or it will be a very long night. So we'll talk about that as well.
You brought up your wife, though.
Yeah. So my wife bought this. We are also trying to, because a little bit older than you. You could be my son.
We detailed this, yes.
Give me back my son. Is she bought what's called a bed jet. So now we have a sheet that forces air into the sheet and either cools us down or warms us up. We can adjust the temperature. It's not like a Sleep Number bed where it's the pressure, it's air. So we tried it out last night for the first time, and she can adjust her side, I can adjust my side. And it was actually very soothing. Now, there's always going to be an adjustment period. So I don't know how you are, but I'm one that normally kicks the covers off. I like to sleep without anything over the top of me. But I actually last night slept with this sheet and the comforter over the top. It's a very thin comforter.
So what is it? Is it like a cool breeze? Like,
yes. So it forces air. So it'll puff up a little bit. And then force air down on you. So I was using the cooling setting still because
you can split it by side.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
Well, because you have two different inputs.
Okay.
You have two different fans blowing
on the sides?
Air blowing in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, it sounds nice. I like a certain temperature.
I want to get paid by these guys, maybe.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But I want an endorsement opportunity.
Right.
But, because you hear or you see probably when you're still up at 1 or 2 a.m., the infomercials about, cool bed this.
I'm not watching cable television at 1 in the morning, I hate to tell you.
You're playing video games is what you're doing.
Or watching Lost. Which was on cable television, to be fair.
Oh, my God. So we're kind of skeptics when it comes to stuff like this, but we're willing to try it. We are skeptics. So as long as we have the ability to send it back if we don't like it, then we're all in. So we're trying it. And so far, day one, I'll give you updates as we go along with this. Day one's good.
I'm interested to see where the pitfalls are. I'll never forget just these sort of infomercial type of products. I was working at a restaurant one time, and there was this knife that was specifically for cutting, I think it was lemons and limes or something like that. And this girl that I was working with, she was super excited about getting it. And I remember that I just saw her, and she was like, yeah, I'm really excited about this knife. And then I remember I went and did something for like 2 minutes, and I came back, and she was like, it broke. And it was like so like just perfect.
Burst your bubble.
I was like, well, like who would have saw that coming?
So I mean, Ronco with the pocket fisherman, the Ginsu knife, all these things.
Yeah, that's like that unlocked something in my memory right there.
Does it right there?
The Ginsu knife.
Ginsu.
Yeah,
it can cut through. Like cut through a tin can, and then it would slice a piece of paper, and then perfectly slice a tomato.
Things haven't been the same since Billy Mays. They just haven't.
They really haven't. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, cocaine took him down. So
I don't remember that.
There's a real life thing on Billy Mays that you could look at. So let's break the news. Well, it didn't break, from us, but it broke a little bit after 11:30 this morning that it's now former Oregon wide receiver Jurrion Dickey is playing for a junior college in California. And he actually played in a game this weekend and caught a touchdown. He has registered and is now on the roster and playing at Diablo Valley College, which is a junior college in the Bay Area. So if anybody was still thinking that Jurrion Dickey possibly could have been coming back, and we really haven't been talking about him the first 2 weeks of the season at all. Actually, we haven't been talking about him for about a month since he was suspended.
Because that was basically right after the media day, because I remember his media day interview, and I just remember being very.
You mentioned it on the air. It was a little off.
It was very off-putting. There was just something about his media day opportunity that felt very off to me.
So there you go. So Jurrion Dickey, a 5-star recruit, highly recruited by not just Oregon, but a lot of different programs and high-ranked programs.
He'll get another chance. Anytime you get that 5-star label, you'll get 3 chances.
And we wish the best for the young man.
Absolutely.
And if this is the way he can kind of reset his life and his attitude and being able to – and we're not going to get into any kind of guessing about why he was – because there was never a clear why you're being suspended from the program.
Well, do you remember the landing quote?
I do not.
Refresh
my memory.
We've got 2 team rules. Be respectful and be on time. There were some pieces of that where I felt like he needed a break from us.
I do remember it now.
And we needed a break from him.
Right. So sorry, I interrupted you there. But yeah,
That's pretty much the end.
So yes. So another opportunity, and I'm sure that Oregon didn't say anything to anybody that would have dissuaded them from giving Jurrion Dickey another chance.
Right. He'll end up back in a big time school.
Don't we love, though, rehab stories? I mean, honestly, we in this country, we love to tear people down, and then we love the celebration of, I mean, I'll just say one word to you right now. Charlie Sheen.
Oh yeah, he's back.
He's back. They're continuing to rehab his profile. They have a new documentary out. I think it's on Netflix or whatever. Is it? Have you watched it? I've seen clips, but I haven't watched it yet.
I could see myself watching that at the very end of the night when I'm like, you know what? I don't have anything else I'm better watching. I'll watch this.
So the most interesting thing, because I've seen clips of it, it was that he was in a space where, 2.5 Men was his big hit on television, and he never really had a closure with John Cryer.
He wasn't. I thought it was I forgot what it's called, the baseball one.
No, his biggest hit on television.
Oh, okay.
On TV, he had a long-standing sitcom.
Came out.
Yeah, no, but I mean, when he was in 8 Men Out, that was a revival of his movie career, because before that, he was seen as a comedic actor.
Right. By the way, people probably hate the fact that I don't know any of these movies.
What movies do you know, by the way?
I know all these horror movies. The
horror genre is your jam,
and
which is
the
fine.
silent movies because of my mom. That's the movies she taught. So I just have such a weird.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I know. I didn't get any of the sports movies.
I do wish that you would watch.
We should just watch them. We should do a marathon or something like that.
If you want, whenever I'm home, because
you're the one that's been up since 8 in the morning and hasn't had any time. Whatever. 5 in the morning,
not 8. I don't keep banker's hours. I wish I did, but I don't. The judge,
You're the one that's been up for 2 in the morning.
No, I have not. No. The judge, John Warren from Joe Radio up in Albany, Corvallis. He's our good friend. He's going to talk about Oregon State and Texas Tech, and we're just concerned. We have concerns. We have issues right now.
But
with
I
the
thought
Oregon
we
State
got
program.
you a little bit further in the positive side. I thought that's what you were saying yesterday.
Well, I was trying to. I need
now
to see it.
You're back to
the... but I mean, I need to see it on the field. I was the one that jumped
You're a little more negative again today, I think.
I jumped out there and said I thought this was a 9-win team. I'm trying to look at their schedule and say, where are the 9 wins now?
Well, there's not a 9-win team anymore.
Well, But Justin, that's what I talked about at the beginning of the season. I thought they were a 9-win team, and you were in
I was
the boat with me.
I thought that they could be an 8 or 9. I don't remember what we said. I think we both said 9.
Because the over-under was 8.5 on this team.
It was under the assumption they would win the first 2 games. And the second they lost the first game, I didn't think they were going to be a 9-win team. And I certainly don't think they're going to be a 9-win team now. That require them beating Oregon and Texas Tech. That's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen. The judge will be on the Oregon Man Clinic's hotline at 541-343-5673.
Now,
yes.
The only thing that I will say is, what's the most unstoppable thing in football?
What's the most unstoppable thing in football?
This is just my opinion.
Predicting a win.
No, I think the most unstoppable thing is a quarterback that's hot, that just all of a sudden they just get on fire.
Light up?
Just light it up.
And so you're saying Malik Murphy, based on his second half performance against Fresno State, is going to start lighting it up?
I'm not saying that he will. I'm saying that that's the only way.
That's where the trend is.
I'm saying that's how they get a win. They're going to win if Malik Murphy comes out there and he's an absolute stud.
Well, I mean, Anthony Hankerson carried the ball. He toted it over 25 times, over 136 yards, if I'm remembering that right. That stat sticks in my head.
All I'm saying,
it's a good performance.
This is what you get a quarterback like this for, to elevate a team, to be the guy that is the difference maker.
But
I'm not saying he.
But they
I'm
need
not
it
saying
on defense. They need it on
know.
special teams. They need it. You cannot just rely on one person in this.
Just think about how many times you've seen a quarterback take over a game, and it doesn't think about Michael Penix 2 years ago, when everything that the Ducks did and they tried to stop him and it just didn't matter because he was like Michael Myers. He kept coming at them and he kept on making plays. It was unreal. I mean, they were basically
Michael
blitzing
Myers
him, and there was
Halloween.
guys in his face, and then he'd hit Roma Dunze on a crossing route for 40 yards. It was unbelievable. Okay. So I'm just saying I think that's what they're going to have. They're going to have some unbelievable performances from Malik Murphy. If
you
they're
mixed in a Halloween reference with a quarterback reference right there. You realize that.
That's
Did you do that consciously?
Listen, Michael Penix scared me.
And so does Michael Myers.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
after the last two movies didn't scare me as much. But the first movie was
there's like 20 of them.
There's 20 Halloween movies.
So. There might be. There's at least 10, I think.
Can you we go into a break? Can you Google that up when we go into the break? Because I don't know if there's 20 Halloween movies. I don't think there's 20 Halloween movies. There's maybe, I think 10 is the closer number. The over-under for me is probably about 8. Okay, how many?
It's 13.
Okay, so that's a pretty wide gap between 13 and 20, but that's a lot of Halloween movies.
8 and 20. So
what I'd be interested in is that the same guy playing Michael Myers in all of those movies?
I don't think so.
Have we talked about sports yet on this program?
Yeah, we
a little.
I made a Michael Myers reference when talking about the Beavers.
And that's what I picked up on in that entire soliloquy that you had, was that you were talking about Michael Myers and the whole thing. All right, so we're concerned about the Beavers and what we're not concerned about, and maybe we should be. I don't know. The Oregon Ducks heading to Evanston, Illinois. They're up in the air, I'm sure, right now. Flying back to the Central Time Zone, they will take on at Martin Stadium and Northwestern Medicine Field, which is the soccer stadium for Northwestern. They're playing in temp facilities again this year as they recreate Ryan Field at Northwestern. The first Big Ten matchup for the Ducks and Northwestern. A lot of conference play this weekend. I think almost everyone's in conference play this weekend, aren't they? I think they are. I think the Big Ten actually it's weird because the Big Ten will start their conference season this weekend for most teams, I believe. And then next weekend, it'll be back to a non-con game. And then the balance of the season for most teams will be conference play because, of course, the Big Ten plays 9 conference games out of 18 teams in the conference. Am I right or am I wrong there? There's a couple of teams.
You are not right. I would say you're definitively not right. I would say
so
actually
only
Oregon's
a few
the only
teams?
one that is playing in Big Ten. Yeah,
come on.
Wisconsin is playing Alabama.
Okay,
Michigan is playing Central Michigan.
Yeah,
Nebraska is playing
when I'm
Houston
wrong,
Christian.
okay, you don't need to tame all of them. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Purdue is playing USC.
Okay, that's probably what stuck out in my head.
Go.
So wait a second. So you said Oregon was the only one. They're not the only
one. There's another one. You're right. There's 2.
Okay, well, 2 out of what?
18.
9. Well, 9 possible
so 4
matchups.
Teams out of the 18.
Less than 20%, if I'm doing my math correctly.
Yeah. My brain got confused for a second. I saw Minnesota and California, and so I just was like...
And that's one of our big bet games,
you know what
by
I'm saying?
The way, tomorrow.
Because that's a Pac-12, former Pac-12 with the
ACC
Big Ten.
Now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like so many conferences at once.
It's very confusing for us. Can you understand sometimes how a sports talk radio host gets a little confused with all of the changes that go on?
Right.
Me, I'm just an idiot. So that's where it's easy for me to be able to, where am I going? What am I doing? All right, so let's take a break. When we come back, we will have his honor. We always love talking to John Warren because I'll tell you what, he's not by the swimming pool. It's not warm enough for that. So I know it, but we probably are delaying his nap that you had earlier. I would love to get. But we're going to talk Oregon State and Texas Tech when we return on the Jamie and Justin radio program here for a weekend eve from the Bigfoot Beverages Studios in Newport and Eugene. I will be live at Shadow Hills Golf Course tomorrow. It's going to be a tight window. I'll be coming off the golf course for the Diamonds and Divots Oregon Softball Fundraiser Golf Tournament. So we're going to have Melissa Lombardi, Oregon softball coach, on the program, and also a player, possibly 2.
I'm really excited about this.
I'm efforting some of your favorite players, Justin. I know we want Lindsey Grine. I'm trying. Okay,
that'd be cool.
We're trying. So that'll be on the program tomorrow, and also stay tuned, kids. Big bets tomorrow on the program as well. So Goose is picking the games this week. Do you like the lineup that we've got? I mean, we've got, I don't want to reveal the games, but the widest point spread is 3.5 on the games that he picked right now. Do you see that?
I'm less familiar with these teams than
Well, you better
some of the
do
other
some
weeks.
homework. So we got to pick one of those games, though, on the over-under as well in terms of points.
Sure.
Okay.
And we choose all the same game, right?
We can debate which game we're going to choose, which means you and I can pick it.
Okay.
Okay? All right.
We got to bring John on.
Let's bring him on the phone. On the Oregon Man Clinics hotline at 541-343-5673. I was going to get to him. He's fine. He's driving. It's the judge, John Warren, from the Joe Beaver radio show. You know him. You love him. He's number 17 in your program, number 1 in your hearts. Your Honor, what is the mood of the Oregon fan base, Oregon State fan base, pardon me, not Oregon fan base, Oregon State fan base after the 0-2 start?
I think you can predict it. It wasn't very good last Saturday. I host a call-in show in the post-game show.
Yeah.
It wasn't as vitriolic as I thought it would be.
Really?
We take calls and texts so you can get the mood from both. And I'll just tell you this, and I'm going to pull over, by the way, because I'm going to get a sandwich. I'm starving. No, the Boo Birds were out. Oh, my gosh. It rained down boos in the stadium. Post-game call-in show wasn't that bad. There was a few people pretty angry, but there was, people that just said, hey, this has got to get cleaned up and in a less combative way. So that was okay. And then, all week long on our show, it's been okay. We haven't had anybody, jump or anything, and we haven't had to talk anybody off any ledges. But at the same time, they're not happy. They are not happy.
John, you've been doing this a long time, and you've been following programs, and you've seen coaches come and go. I mean, with Dennis Erickson, with Mike Riley a couple of times, Gary Anderson, and now Trent Bray, who has, a pedigree within the program as an assistant. And there was the gaffe at halftime. I'm not going to keep recreating or talking about what happened at halftime because I, quite frankly, dislike the sideline reporter sticking a microphone in the coach's face, especially after some disappointment, and then not expecting something like what happened on Saturday. So let's put that aside. What is your sense about how Trent Bray can keep holding on to this locker room? Because from the outside looking in, from the casual observer, it'd be like, wow, is he going to be able to keep these players moving forward? Because the next two games are really against strong opponents.
Oh, I don't think he's lost the locker room at all. I think they're one group, but I don't know. That's a good question because after week number 1, we saw frustration on the sideline with the quarterback, Malik Murphy. But it wasn't that way this week. I thought, really offensively, defensively, there was a lot of improvement. Now, I am not whistling through the graveyard. I won't do it. But there were some positives in the game from week number 1. Now, they did not beat a team they should have beaten by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
They should have won that game easily.
Yep.
Instead, they lose. And it should not have happened. And I think Beaver fan and Beaver program would agree with that. But there were pretty good improvements on both sides of the ball. If you take away all the special teams debacle, which was just horrible. I mean, it was just beyond horrible.
Yeah.
So I think he's still got the locker room for now. You just never know at the end of a season. It's just you got to come up with the wins. We got to wait until the end of the season when it comes to keeping guys. And in this new era of guys moving so quickly, left and right, constantly, I don't know that anybody can ever keep any locker room anymore, honestly. I'm so jaded on college sports and what has happened, especially with football. Now, there may be a reprieve on this. The advisory committee said let's change the portal from the end of the football season to January 2nd.
Right. Which
would, in theory, keep guys from leaving right away and saying, I'm not playing in the bowl game because I'm going. Because all the bowl games are covered. Now, some more, how do I put it, combative. I know I already used the word, but some more combative listeners to the show and whatnot they come right back and say, well, yeah, they're just going to quit anyway because they want to get ready to go into the portal. Okay, fine. Yeah, you're going to get a few of those. I mean, come on. But it may incentivize a lot of guys to wait it out until January 2nd when they are proposing moving the portal to, and then they will play in the bowl game. We have to go through it. We have to have that pass. The final NCAA committee has to vote on it by the end of this month, by October 1st, for it to be good for this year. There isn't any indication to think that they won't. All right, so that's fine. Then the other part of it is that they would only cut it down to one window, so no fall window and no spring window. It would all be for 10 days, January 2nd, which would be fantastic because then you don't lose a bunch of guys right before spring practice or during spring practice and wonder, what is my team? You know what your team is then going into spring practice. So that has to happen. That, I believe, that has to happen. So the original answer question about keeping your locker room, in this day and age, honestly, with guys being offered things with friends who act as agents in their ear or an overzealous mom or dad, I don't think any coach can keep any locker room. I think it's a free-for-all at the end of every single football season.
The longtime voice up there in the Albany Corvallis market. It's the Judge John Warren joining us from KEJO Radio. He hosts the Joe Beaver Show with the voice of the Beavers, Mike Parker, every day during the football season, into the fall and into the spring. And he joins us here on the Oregon Man Clinics hotline at 541-343-5673. So one big concern as they head into Lubbock for this team as I think it's 21, Texas Tech, only the second meeting, I think, against the programs, is as I'm looking at the lines, the stat lines, 0 sacks last week. You got to start putting some pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, and Kyrie Marshall was asked about that. I think yesterday he was online, and I didn't get to see it, but the media was asking him about it, and he just, I mean, the questions are basically, what do you got to do to make that better? And then the answer is always generic, and it says, well, we got to play harder and just keep doing what we're doing. Yeah. Okay, that's all you get. But the fact remains, they didn't get any sacks. No, they got 7 sacks last year, worst in Division I, and no sacks in 2 games this year. So clearly it has to change.
And just going back to the special teams, Jackson Robertson, clearly he's got a case of what you could call the yips or like a putter that can't get their putts in. That first snap, how important is that going to be?
Hey, Justin. Well, that is a great question. It's going to be hugely important because from what I understand, I think they're going to stick with him. Here's the interesting thing, guys. Now I'm drawing a blank on the starter, but when he was out all last year with that cancer diagnosis, which has been well chronicled, so I'm not saying anything out of line here, it was this guy who filled in the entire year. So in other words, he done it for a whole year.
Exactly.
What happened in one game? So he can do it. But the thing is, I mean, we all know in sports, if all of a sudden you can't do something, are you going to be able to do it, in a week? Or is this going to be, because, I mean, it was a complete and total meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
So what I don't understand is why there wasn't some kind of quick fix. Like Van Wells is your starting center. If he can snap to a shotgun, just have the guy drop back in the shotgun, snap it, and do a quick hit, which would at least get the ball down the field successfully, which is what you want. To not have an instant fix like that in the game was concerning because clearly if a guy is just botching it over and over again. Now, the one that skipped and hit the punter in the hands and then he just kicked it, which turned into a touchdown, that was just a breakdown on everybody's part.
Right.
So what if it was an illegal kick or whatever? It's not on him if it hit him in the hands. That's my opinion. If you're good enough to be back there and the ball hits you in the hands and you drop it after a skip, that's not on the skip. That's on you dropping it.
Is this emblematic of some just disorganization within this program? Like, was this one of those problems that just shouldn't have happened?
Well, I don't know what's going on. That's not for me to say. I know they're doing the best they can, and they look good all summer. I mean, they really did. Well, I watched practices and everything, and then a lot of people did, and really, really thought that they would come out of that stronger. Special teams was a problem in week 1 and week 2, so there's a pattern there. The first week it was with really bad penalties and bad communication on the penalties, and then in week 2 it was the bad snaps. So that's really the one thing that seems to be the consistent. I know offensively and defensively, everybody looked a lot better in week 2. And week 1 wasn't horrible against Cal. Cal's a really good team, but they looked a lot better, even defensively, not so much on the edge. But so I think really it's just special teams. Clean that up, and you might be okay. Now, again, you're going up against a team that's going to have a sold-out stadium, in a place where they're nuts for their football and they're good. They're ranked number 21. They haven't really played anybody. Kent State and who was the first one? I don't even remember, but they blew them out. In fact, they're the only team in the country. I saw this stat. Texas Tech is with a 2-0 record in both games were 60 points or more for the offense.
John Warren with 1240 KEJO or KEJO.
KEJO, Joe Radio. Just say Joe
Radio with us on the Danny and Justin radio program. Apologies about that. How do they get a fast start in this Texas Tech game? I think it's going to be so important for this Beavers team to get a good start. So how do they do that?
You want the ball, don't you?
On deep snaps. You want the ball, yes.
Yeah, okay.
But if you have to punt, have that first punt go off without a hitch, and I think they'll be okay the rest of the day. Now, whether they're talented enough to win that game remains to be seen, but I think they have a very good team, a pretty good team, a good team, much better than they've shown in the first 2 weeks, and I don't think they will embarrass themselves. I think they'll actually show pretty well, win or lose.
So Texas Tech beats Kent State 62-14. They beat Arkansas Pine Bluff. And
that's right.
And I will give $25 out of my pocket right now without anybody looking it up on the internet to tell me what the mascot is for Arkansas Pine Bluff. 67-7, and that was the first weekend of the season. So John, let's flip this over to something more positive. So PFF grades out Malik Murphy at like an 89.9. So above average, well above average, almost to an excellent grade. And it was the whole chatter after the first game was Malik Murphy, pounding his fist and yelling at one of the assistant offensive coordinators on the sideline. It was not Ryan Gunderson, by the way. Anybody who says that is not being accurate. So talk about his maturation and how he is now trying to assume, and I love that fire, by the way, assume the leadership role and what he can bring to this team going into Lubbock.
Well, there were huge strides between week 1 and week 2 in just the communication and the offense and how everybody felt about it. And he was so much better. He wasn't really throwing off the back foot like he did in the first week. He didn't really force too many throws into coverage in week 2 that he did in week 1 that I noticed. Nobody else talked about it, but I did. It's like, forget the interceptions or some of the mistakes. He's got to stop throwing into coverage, and this in week number 2 he really didn't. He looked pretty good. In fact, he had 4 touchdown passes. So huge steps from week 1 to week 2 within the offense. His arm is just amazing. He's a great player, and I think if they keep doing that, they'll surprise some people. In fact, if Texas Tech thinks that a team that lost to Fresno State and how bad they looked in special teams is going to be the same team that comes in, they're going to be wrong. They need to be ready for that. If they're not, it could be an interesting game. And I'm not saying that as a homer. I really am not.
No, we take agree. That. Yeah, we take that for what it's worth to judge. I want to talk about Anthony Hankerson as well. When Jam Griffin went out last year, I don't think he was ready to assume the role. But coming into this season and what we've seen in the first 2 games and 136 yards against Fresno State, Hank seems like he is embracing this role as the number 1 back, give me as many carries. You can ride me like Secretariat. And so talk about what you see from Hank in the first couple of games, and especially last week.
Well, he struggled in the first game to get yards, but I don't think it was him. I just think the offensive line was so green, and they improved a lot from week 1 to week 2, and he started getting holes. And there was a couple of runs. You think of him, and his nickname is Tank and everything, you think of him as a guy who's just going to run over people, but he actually had some Barry Sanders moves, a couple of Barry Sanders-type moves, that I was like, wow, where did that come from? Because there was a little bit of space to work with, which there wasn't in week number 1. So week 1, his struggles in week 1 were not because he wasn't ready last year. I thought he was great last year. He got, they do a good job in their running back system of shuffling guys in and out. Saladin Allah will get a number of carries, but the bulk of it's going to go to Tank. And he was so much better in week 2 than week 1 because there were holes. And if there are holes, he can do more with it than if there's nothing there, then he'll get shut down just like in week number 1.
And defensively, we already kind of detailed how there's not the sacks that you're looking for this team, but were there other things that you were encouraged by in that game against Fresno State?
Oh, yeah. No, Jaleel Tucker with an interception. It was a lot better coverage, and the corners, everybody played much better. The linebackers, if you look at the stats, Oregon State dominated the stats so bad. And you just go, well, how did you lose that game? That's what complete and total collapse in one aspect of the game happens to you. And so, no, defensively, outside of not getting a sack, everything else was vastly improved.
All right, well, John, we're going to let you go. Hopefully, so is it a turkey sandwich? Is it ham? So what are you going towards?
No, I'm at Arby's, and I'm going to go in there reluctantly because I thought I had found my favorite new place until someone told me something about it's not real meat, and that kind of really killed me. But I'm going to go in anyway.
Okay. Well, best of luck to you there. Happy trip this weekend. We will talk to you here in a couple of weeks as well. And best of luck to the Beavs this weekend. I know you're rooting for them.
I'll be in Utah and I'll be listening and watching. I'm going to try to work it in around being with friends for a wedding. Like looking over someone's shoulder and that kind of thing.
You're going to be the commercial.
I'm going to be the guy that's trying to get scores and see what's going on while smiling and shaking hands and nodding. Oh, there you go. Hey, Susie, you look real good. And then, try to find the score.
Just make sure you're not doing a demonstrative jump up in the air when they say, is there anybody here that wants to object?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that happens in my ear for a touchdown, and then they ask that question at the same time would not be a good mix.
All right, Judge. Thanks, buddy. We appreciate you as always.
All right, see you guys.
All right, there he goes, the judge, John Warren. When he comes, is anybody want to object? Yes! When Oregon State scores a touchdown or gets a big pick six. Well, I'll tell you, I still think this is that game that can turn the season around. Or it's going to, listen, I just looked at the schedule. So we'll talk about that when we come back. I just looked at the schedule for Oregon State the rest of the way home. Okay? After these next two games. Danny and Justin rolls back in on here on a weekend eve from the Bigfoot Beverages Studios in Eugene and Newport. Fox Sports. Dad joke upcoming as we close out the show here on a weekend eve back in the studio. We will be out at Laurelwood next, by the way, if you want to circle your calendars, on what's the 26th. We'll be out there the day before the Penn State game. That's going to be a Friday. It's going to be tough on you. Sorry. Well, actually, and Oregon State doesn't even play that week. No, Oregon State actually plays Friday night. They play on the 26th that week. They play a Friday night game.
That's right.
As we were looking at the schedule.
Yeah.
So are you gonna? So you can't do. You do Friday night live.
Yeah, we're just doing the Oregon game anyway, so
right.
It doesn't affect anything.
That's the big game. So
so that means a big game for the Beavers at this point, I'd say.
Okay. Well,
but yes,
confuse the thing. The big game on Saturday, and it's going to be the marquee, one of the marquee games, and that is for us a 4:30 kick, right? So you'll be on the air at 2:30 on game day that weekend. 2 hours before.
I couldn't tell you what time the Penn State game is.
It's a 4:30 kick. I'm telling you right now. I already know.
Yeah, Houston and Oregon State play at 7:30 on ESPN.
Okay. So looking at the rest of the Oregon State schedule, after we just had, and by the way, again, big thanks to the judge, John Warren from 1240 Joe Radio up there in the Albany Corvallis market for hopping on. He's our resident expert on everything Oregon State. Is while my heart goes to Oregon State in this weekend as a 24.5-point road underdog in Lubbock when the tortillas will be flying.
That feels like a lot. I'm just saying. That feels like a big spread.
I would actually, if I was in Vegas, I would take Oregon State. Now, to win the game outright, that's going to be a reach for me.
100%. 100% agree.
To cover?
100%.
100% I think they cover. I think they make this a tight game. And listen, you never know what happens. Bounce the football one way or the other. And obviously, from us being in Oregon, want to see Oregon State play well and come back with, shock the world. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead and shock the world. But then they'll come back to earth in the Civil War next week in Autzen. So when you look at the balance of the schedule, though, Justin, even if Oregon State does go 0-4, I still see 8 wins on this schedule. The big wild card might be the last, well, not actually just the last week of the season, because they play Washington State twice, and Washington State does not look good under Jimmy Rogers. They just don't look good. And my eye test tells me that could be 2 wins for Oregon State. And they got App State, they got Wake Forest.
Yeah, they have games for sure.
It's not a murderer's row.
No,
by any stretch.
They should beat App State.
Yes.
They should beat Wake Forest.
Yes. App State's not getting up. App State is not getting up for Oregon State, unfortunately. And that's no slam on Oregon State, but it's like you're not going into the big house and playing Michigan.
They're playing on the road, though.
Yeah, but still.
They're playing Wake Forest at home, Lafayette at home. I mean, if Lafayette at home isn't a win, I don't know what is, basically, at that point. Sam Houston at home. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
At Tulsa. That's
8-4.
Maybe at Tulsa is one where we could look at as like a that's one that you get to,
we might be on Monday talking about a 1-2 Oregon State team, and now 9 wins is back on the table.
Sure.
Then I would love to be able to talk about that. But the reality being is I think even if you start showing that improvement even more, because John just talked about it and you and I noticed the same things, improvement from week 1 to week 2, and then that next step from week 2 to week 3, and it still might be a loss. Mm-hmm. But if that ends up being a touchdown game, well, everybody in Vegas thought you were going to get blown out by 24.
Yeah.
So wouldn't that be an improvement? Wouldn't you see that? I mean,
well,
it's
this
a loss.
Is why
it's
when I was talking
loss.
about the must-win game thing, it's never a must-win game unless it's literally the last game of the season. And it's different in college football, too, because sometimes the must-win games that we want to win 6 games to get a bowl game or something like that.
I'll just tell you that
until that's over, it's not over. So I completely agree with you.
And to me, as I said on Monday when we started talking about this, is that my concern with Oregon State, and by the way, thanks for listening to Danny and Justin. Tomorrow, big bets as well. Mims Goose picked the games this week. So we'll unveil those tomorrow and get your opportunity to jump in and play against us on our big bets segment, as we do on Fridays during the football season, is that this last weekend's game against Fresno State felt to me like last year when Oregon State went to Reno and lost to Nevada Reno. And that's where they got pushed off the cliff for the season. They were in a spiral after that. And I don't want that. For them, I don't want this last week's game to end up being that this season. Like you don't let an opponent beat you twice is the old adage in coach speak, is like, don't let those guys beat you again.
The only difference I would say,
was
that was what, game?
It was game 6
or something like that.
Yeah, but it was a critical
bit
game
earlier in the season. I know we thought of this game against Fresno State as an incredibly critical game, but it's just so much earlier in the year. There's just so much more time left.
Yeah, but with the schedule you got in front of you, though, I mean,
I understand, but I think that there's so much time left that, like, I think everybody's expecting this team to be 0-4. So, I mean, let's be honest with you, with each other, at least. So if we all are expecting this team to be 0-4, I'm not saying that they're expecting that, but I think at this point, if this team is 0-4, they're probably ready to fight back from that.
In our relationship, you are 100% more of the pessimist.
You think so?
Overall. Absolutely. And I think I would be, but a realistic pessimist.
Yeah,
in other words, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's not.
I think that's a pretty, if you're going to go through life, being a realistic pessimist isn't the worst way to go.
I mean, go back. I mean, the tape will bear me out. I'm normally the guy that's the optimist in this relationship, and I was the one that threw the gauntlet down first. It's just like, oh my gosh, they're staring down into the abyss. And so, how do they pull this back out? Mm-hmm. And relating it to last year, I would absolutely adore. At the end of the year, that we're talking about an 8-4 Oregon State team, that they're going to a decent bowl, and it's all sunshine, flowers, rainbows. Everybody gets candy. I would love that to happen.
I would also love for that to happen. I think it's a lot less likely to happen now that they lost their first 2 games.
Yeah. And that's the
I
reality
also think that even if they go 0-4, I'm not going to count this team out to not fight back. And
I want to see that fight, though, this weekend.
2/3 of the year.
Don't you? You want to see the fight this weekend?
No. I'm not saying that if they get blown out the next 2 games, then then we're starting to get places that you don't want to see. But if they do have that fight, I think they will. I mean, this is going to be a game against Texas Tech where they're, we talked about wounded animal mode. They're going to be fighting this game for sure. John just said it as well. I completely agree. Against Oregon, it's a rivalry game. They're going to give everything to Oregon.
Yeah, that's their Super Bowl.
Exactly.
No matter what.
100%.
And in enemy territory. And
just anything can happen in a rivalry game.
And we haven't even really talked about this, and I'm only going to have one chance to talk about it next week, is this will be the last time that we know on the schedule that this game's going to get played next week. Right. And I don't want to turn the page too fast to next week, but the Civil War this will be the last known, at least in the next 2 years after this, unless somebody magically puts that in a bye week, which I don't think either program is going to want to do. We're not going to see this game for at least a couple of years. So why not go all out?
Yeah. My big point is that I don't necessarily think you can predict that the Beavers are going to win either of these 2 games. But I would be very surprised if they did not have a lot of fight in both of them.
I'm with you there. But that's what I want to see. I think so too. And if you get smacked in the face a couple of times early, how do you bounce back from that? Do you use that as an opportunity?
There's just no shame in losing these 2 games. I mean, when it comes down to it. I mean, you want to win them, obviously, but this is Texas Tech on the road with a huge winning streak, and then Oregon with another huge winning streak.
Right. Are we concerned? We'll talk about it a little bit more tomorrow, I think. Are you concerned at all? I mean, I don't want to, no disrespect to Northwestern.
My concern about Northwestern? No.
I don't have any concern about Northwestern and Oregon.
I don't know.
I mean,
a joke!
I got fired from the bank today. A woman asked me to check her balance, so I pushed her.
Dad jokes!
I mean, I don't want to dismiss them.
Of course not. But I think they might be. I mean, I don't know. At least their running back's injured. They might be worse than Oklahoma State.
Okay. What do you call a student who doesn't like math class?
Me. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. There you go, kids.
There it is.
A calculator.
A calculator.
My daughter Abigail's in pre-calculus this year.
Yeah, you know what I'd do when I get to math class?
What do you do?
I'd leave and say calculator.
Calculator. All right, tomorrow on the program, I will be out at Shadow Hills coming off of the golf course, playing in the Diamond and Divots tournament. Baby J will be back here holding down the fort because he's got a lot of other things to do with Friday night? Friday Night
Live.
So what's the? You got a few seconds. You're talking about what's coming up.
Tune into the poll we're going to release today. It's going to be the best mascots in the state, 1 through 16. Vote on it. We want you to hear your thoughts.
Okay. So
Fox Sports Eugene, Twitter, and Newport. And
we will talk about that tomorrow as well, and then leading up to game day. All right. So tomorrow on the program, back out not at Laurelwood. We're at Shadow Hills tomorrow, doing the program from there. We'll have Melissa Lombardi, a couple of players as well. Tune in for all that tomorrow. God bless, be well, put a smile on your face, someone else's. They deserve it, so do you. For Baby J, I'm Danny. Peace.